King of the Castle, Choice and Responsibility in the Modern World by Guy Eaton. So I was actually slightly lost, slightly not lost, but just I'd lost my way. And so I had asked my mentor, I was like, yo, in a respectful manner, like the way you speak to a mentor, like a guide. It's like, yo, I'm a bit lost on my journey. Can you recommend me some material to consume which will help me on my journey? So I started reading this book. I haven't finished it yet at the moment, but I would perhaps by the time that this video is posted I would have finished it. But I think that there's a lot of benefit that can be gained from reading books, and like I think no one is blind to that. But in the 21st century, in 2020, it becomes a massive chore to read. And I think if we want to learn things, it is really important to read. We can learn a lot through videos, media, and other means, but I think books are not outdated yet. So far in this book, King of the Castle, I learned about 3 things, because I've read the first 3 chapters. I just started last night. So the first thing was about the closure of our field of selection and vision, our choice, the closure of our field of choice, which basically alleviates us from responsibility. So what do I mean by this? I mean, back in the day, before any collective civilization, whatever we did, we'd bear the consequences of it, and there was nothing in place to say, okay, there wasn't loads of rules and regulations which absolved us from responsibility. So whatever we did, we would have to take full responsibility. But nowadays, there's so little room for us to do anything, or anything that is right or wrong. So we're freed from loads of the responsibility. We follow in our day-to-day lives algorithms, protocols, this and that. But how much thinking do we actually do? And that was the first chapter. The second chapter was following on from this, was about being a cog in the system, and not just a cog in the system, a replaceable cog in the system, meaning that it's really hard, and loads of people do have this issue in life, to find value and enjoyment in what they're doing, because if you are just a small part of the picture and a replaceable small part of the picture, then what is exactly your legacy? What exactly is your legacy? What are we doing here? Why are we here? And in addition to this, it's like, do we even exist? A lot of our wealth is accumulated. It's like digital, and does it have any true or real value? Back in the day, it was a gold-based system. Now there's loads of critiques of all these systems. I'm unable to be able to tell you these because I'm not an expert in it and I haven't done much reading, but this is what the book is telling us, or hypothesizing or postulating. The next chapter was was on liberty and obedience, and it just goes on to say that many people in society today, probably including myself, including a lot of yourselves, we take things at face value. If there is a protocol, if there is an algorithm, we'd follow it unquestionably. I know in science we do pride ourselves on falsifiability and repeating things, but in actual day-to-day life, does this actually happen? Most probably not. And going further on this, progressing this idea, it was, if anyone senior to us tells us to do things, then we obediently obey. And this can lead to great things, and it leads to an efficient system, basically. However, if our seniors or the management right at the top are people who do have some sort of warped or perverse ideas, then it can lead to us being effective tools in the spread of their ideologies and in their nonsense. So they actually talked about an experiment where there was people who volunteered to be part of this experiment. Some of the people were connected to an electrode, and other people were connected to a switch from like 15 to 450 volts. And the person who had the switch had commands from a microphone telling them, push the switch, push the switch, push the switch. And slowly the voltage would go up and up. And then the person who was connected to the electrode would be screaming in agony. But the person clicking the button was told, you have to do this. You have to click the button. You have to do it. And unsurprisingly, or surprisingly to some, I think 2/3 of the people who had the button would continually do so and click the button. The purpose of this is that they were told that they had to do it, and therefore they felt that there was some sort of authority that told them, okay, do this, and then they had to do it. The problem with authority is that in the 21st century, something that was seen as wrong yesterday can be right today, and something that was seen as right yesterday can be wrong today. So we're in a very fluid system, and in terms of truths or moralities or whatever, it's all very subjective. There's a shared objectiveness within it, you could potentially argue, although I'd disagree, but it's largely very subjective and susceptible to change. So those over us, we might be agreeing with them today, they might be the heroes of today, but tomorrow they might be the demons, or the villains, not demons, the villains of tomorrow. So we just have to really think about exactly what we're doing in our everyday life, and that's how we really free ourselves from the system, if we see the system to be something which basically not just absolves of our responsibility, but dampens our freedom. And yeah, I think that they did actually have another point here about survival of the fittest, and how the 21st century is about the survival of the fittest, but in a very particular way. So before, survival may have been due to inheritance, this, that, whatever, but the idea of a strict socialism that we're heading towards in Western liberal philosophies or whatnot, perhaps I'm completely wrong, is that yes, we'll have equality of opportunity, but when we have equality of opportunity, the only thing that distinguishes us is those who have greater minds, and this is something which we didn't really make any effort to achieve. We were just born with an intellect, a certain intellect, or it's not something which we really work towards or acquire through effort, and even the ability to put in effort is something which possibly is largely genetic, possibly largely environmental, but it is again something which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like, it's always good to have equality of opportunities and things like that, but is it true equality? Like, is someone going to... I think it can breed a bit of arrogance as well, because if you handed something via inheritance, then okay, you didn't do anything to get that, and it's clear, okay, it's just you happen to be born within that. But if you did things by putting in some effort, and like, not just putting in some effort, but exerting yourself, and you have your intellect or whatever it is, then it can breed arrogance, and you'll be like, okay, the fruits of my labor are actually my fruits, and therefore I am the one who deserves it, rather than, okay, I just happen to be the safekeeper of these commodities, of this wealth, and it's my duty to help other people. So yeah, I think that it was a great read. I've probably butchered it so much, but we'll see exactly where this goes. And yeah. But yeah, man's king of the castle. King of the castle. Bare choice, bare responsibility. Got everything here. Follow on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Yeah, that's it.